What's up, guys, and welcome to Mafia, the Old Country.
Come in.
Brand new gameplay trailer.
Bravery is not common in this world, and so loyalty, honor, obedience, they set the man apart from the rest. You took care of Messina, but this matter is not yet resolved.
Took care of
You
Messina.
help me bring it to a close.
Of course. Easy.
But the matter isn't resolved. Welcome to the family, baby. Looks like we've got some stealth gameplay coins for distractions. Perfect. Little 4v1 there. We got some driving action, of course. I think this was right when cars were still pretty new. Dude, look at these opulent mansions. Yeah, okay, here we are. Horseback riding, of course. Horse and carriage cars. Revolvers and knives.
You again.
Dude, knife fights? Mafia the Old Country. Pre-order now, coming August 8th. Oh my goodness, so excited about this. Also, we're on a train and I thought we were about to get a question about our tickets. I can almost guarantee this is the only Mafia gameplay reaction on a train in Finland. 100% the conductor was just outside, or whoever checks your tickets, so I might have to pause this. But we do have a behind-the-scenes trailer. Pleased to announce we passed the ticket test, but yeah, we've got an extended kind of like dev insight trailer, so we're going to learn more about the game and about what we just saw. I mean, a lot of games, especially in their like cinematic trailers, look like movies. That was a gameplay trailer, straight up gameplay. And it truly looks like a movie, and that got me thinking about Mafia 3, and I just looked it up. I can't believe that game is from 2016, so we haven't had a new Mafia game in almost 10 years, which is wild to think about. We got the definitive edition in 2020, I think, right? Think about Mafia 3 and how good that was, and that literally was playing a movie, and think about 9 years of additional development and technology and stuff. So let's go ahead and fire off this dev trailer. Let's learn more about the game.
Hey everyone, I'm Nick Baines, president of Hangar 13. We hope you enjoyed this new look at gameplay in Mafia the Old Country. We're just 3 short months away now from getting this game in your hands, and we can't wait. Mafia the Old Country is an origin story for the Mafia universe, and as such, it's both a step forward and a return to the fundamentals of the franchise.
I love that.
The heart of Mafia has always been deep, immersive storytelling, and Mafia the Old Country is no exception. It's a premium experience in the vein of early Mafia games, with a linear narrative set against a stunning, authentic backdrop of 1900 Sicily.
Dude, the knife fights are going to be
has allowed us to deliver
brutal.
a classic organised crime drama in the period authentic Mafia rules and traditions of the era. And, as you just saw, we've made some exciting gameplay updates. Whether you're using a knife or a gun, using stealth or in a shootout, this is brutal and grounded in all the best ways. It's all going to pull you in from every angle, pushing the franchise forward in a location and time painstakingly created with the utmost authenticity and detail using Unreal Engine 5.
This setting is
Stick
going to be
around,
unbeatable.
because next up is our development team, who have loads of awesome behind-the-scenes insights on how we brought this title to life.
Just Italian
and stay
countryside.
tuned between now and August, as we'll have even more to tell and show. Thanks for joining us on this journey.
Also, I'm sorry about the lighting. We're in a tunnel right now.
Come in.
You're playing a
Our
classic
top goal for
mob
every
movie.
Mafia game is to deliver the promise to a player that you're going to play a classic mob movie. Mafia the Old Country is a linear crime drama set against a beautiful Sicilian backdrop. The first step for us was to make sure that we were nailing all of the things that players expect from a Mafia game. The quality of its storytelling, how immersive it is, how authentic it is. Previous Mafia games have been set in big American cities. We've taken the action and we've put our story in rural Sicily, in the place where the Mafia began.
Dude,
You really
it's
feel
so
like
beautiful.
you're transported into another time. It feels really unique and different, but yet really familiar. Players are really going to enjoy that aspect of it.
Our entry point for making these crime dramas is always the protagonist. We wanted to make sure that our main character, Enzo Favara, lives up to the standard which we've set in the past, and I hope in some ways even exceeds that.
All of the men in this room are bound by blood.
Enzo grows up in a sulfur mine. He's one of a bunch of children that are sold to the mine owners
my
at this point in
gosh.
history in Sicily. Their life expectancy is short and they're essentially seen as disposable.
Enzo turns to crime as a means to make something of himself. The odds are stacked against him. So what does he do? He sees an opportunity for himself to gain some status, to gain some respect.
So you're
Do
seeing
you
his
wish to
whole
commit
origin story
to
as
this
well.
family?
I do.
Swearing the oath is the chance for him to finally be accepted. He's found a family. It's the thing he's been searching for his entire life, but it comes at a cost.
I think players are in for an emotional roller coaster. The high stakes of the Mafia life present opportunities for us as storytellers to take players and put players through the ringer, really, in terms of what happens to the character, what happens to them in the game.
You again.
So he's not originally from the family. He finds the family.
What makes a really
And of course he's
compelling
gonna be all
gameplay
in.
experience is the mix of the high intensity combat, cover play, cover shooting, set by these beautiful cinematics that make what you do in the combat so much more meaningful because you're fighting for something you really believe in.
There's a lot of
Authenticity
gameplay
and immersion are key. And
straight
so we
into
wanted to take that
like
philosophy
cinematics.
from the storytelling and make sure that it was consistent in the gameplay.
You know, whether you come for that core cover combat shooting experience or that white knuckle driving experience, we have that in Mafia: The Old Country, but it's unique.
There's some downbeats, there's some deep storytelling moments, and then there's some like high intensity action. And I think that's what makes Mafia missions and the general experience so interesting, is that we're constantly trying to change that roller coaster experience that you're on.
Enzo's proving himself with guns, and we wanted the combat to feel like there was a scarcity of resources, so you have to be more tactical in the way that you approach combat.
Love
the
that.
knife has been an integral part of gameplay. It's a part of Sicilian culture.
We wanted our gameplay to be immersive, to have a life or death kind of vibe. So when players are in a knife duel, when they're in a gunfight, they're genuinely fearing for their lives.
My flesh must burn like
So
this
guns are
saint
not the
if I
focus
do not
here.
keep my oath.
It's going to be a lot more physical, a lot more close hand-to-hand combat, that kind of thing.
Bringing 1900
Lot more
Sicily to
stealth.
life for us, it infuses every aspect of the development. It's about the characters, it's about the music, it's about the story, it's about the setting, it's about the vistas, it's about the vehicles, it's everything. It always starts with research, it always starts with immersing ourselves in the subject matter. So whether that's reading every crime book around the Sicilian Mafia, watching all of the movies, even driving the cars, firing the weapons, and then translating that into the game, that's the development experience.
We even sent
A lot
some
of
folks
passion
out
went
to
into this
Sicily.
project.
We were then able to take all of those experiences and try to translate it into an on-screen experience, but also a story. And those two things are woven together in a way that I think players are going to really enjoy.
Bravery is not common
amazing.
in this world, and so
The Mafia that we see in Mafia: The Old Country is much different than the Mafia that we see in some of the other Mafia games. It's a time-honored tradition steeped in secrecy, and there's this sort of deep honor that we see within the Teresi family and within the characters there.
The characters' relationships with each other, the way they behave, is very much influenced by that setting and that cultural difference.
This is a distinctive experience that I've never played before, and I'm sure that players are going to feel the same.
Mafia: The Old Country is our first Unreal 5 game in the studio, and it's particularly suited to the Sicilian setting.
We've really been able to push the boat out in terms of sort of the real tiny details on everything.
You know, one of the
Look
big
at
ones for me
these
is
games.
Metahuman. You have characters that have really lifelike expressions, micro details. You know, many times when I'm watching the game, especially on a big screen in 4K, I start to forget that they're characters rendered in an engine. They just look like real characters in a movie. I think that's the level of immersion that we want, and it allows people, I think, to really suspend their disbelief and go along for the ride.
Enzo is beautifully rendered in the game, and I think he's one of the most compelling game characters we've seen for a long time.
The thing I'm most excited about from Mafia: The Old Country is finally getting the game in players' hands.
The story pulls you through really quickly, and at the end, it takes your breath away, and it's the one that you're not going to want to spoil for your friends.
The visuals and the storytelling are absolutely next level.
Our setting's completely distinctive, our story's completely unique. This is a game that you haven't played before. The best crime stories have unforgettable twists, and this game's no exception. Players are in for a treat.
welcome, Enzo.
Dude, this is going to be an experience. Okay, that's really cool. So we're following Enzo. Obviously, he's the main character throughout the entire thing, but we're going to follow him from when he starts in the mines, and he's basically expendable. Nobody cares about him. He finds his way into the family, obviously finds a home, but hopefully doesn't lose himself. We're going to watch that. I've got a feeling this is going to be a super, super emotional journey. I love that like weapons and cars and technology aren't quite there yet, so it's like, you know, it'll be a part of it, but it's not going to be the main focus. There's not going to be a ton of shootouts and things. It's going to be a lot more kind of in-your-face, hand-to-hand combat. A lot of the use of the stealth. You kind of have a bit of a choice there, but I think stealth is going to be kind of the way to go. And I think it's just going to make it that much more intense. I can't even imagine, they're not really showing it on the screen, but I can't imagine what happens if you lose a knife fight or what the end of a knife fight looks like. It's going to be brutal. So very, very excited for this one. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. Also, huge thank you to Mafia and 2K for sending me this trailer early. Definitely one of the more scenic spots I have ever made one, but I hope you guys enjoyed. This looks insane. August 8th. We'll see you there.